Inside a 400 by 400 meter paddock at the Old Pejeta Conservancy in Kenya, two female rhinos named Naujin and Fatu spend their days quietly grazing. But their daily routine requires a massive security apparatus. They are flanked around the clock by armed guards. To further deter poachers, caretakers have even sedated the rhinos to carefully saw off their front horns. These extreme measures are necessary because Naujin and Fatu are the very last northern white rhinos on Earth. Because both remaining individuals are female, natural reproduction is impossible. Biologically speaking, the subspecies is functionally extinct. Yet, in a bizarre scientific twist, Fatu actually has 38 offspring. They just happen to exist in a frozen state, stored inside liquid nitrogen tanks in European laboratories. To understand how a species can be physically extinct in Africa but suspended in ice in Europe, we have to look at the family tree that brought Naujin and Fatu to this exact paddock. Historically, thousands of northern white rhinos ranged across Central Africa. As heavy grazers, they maintained the savanna woodlands and grasslands for countless other species. But poachers systematically hunted them down for one specific reason: their horns. On the black market, rhino horn sells for up to $110,000 per kilogram. Looking at this line chart of the northern white rhino population, you can see exactly how devastating that economic demand was. The number plunges from thousands in 1960 down to just 15 known wild individuals by the 1980s. A few individuals managed to avoid the poachers because they were removed from the wild. In 1975, a male named Sudan was caught and eventually moved to a zoo in the Czech Republic. In captivity, Sudan successfully mated. He fathered a daughter, Naujin, in 1989, and Naujin later gave birth to a female calf, Fatu, in 2000. While the concrete walls of the zoo protected this bloodline, the captive environment couldn't sustain long-term population growth. Eventually, the breeding completely stopped. In 2009, conservationists launched an audacious backup plan. They loaded Sudan, Naujin, Fatu, and a male named Suni into heavy transport crates, flying them back to a natural savanna in Kenya. The goal was to stimulate their natural mating instincts. The rhinos did exhibit breeding behaviors in the new environment, but months passed and no pregnancies occurred. By 2015, medical examinations revealed why. Both females had likely suffered miscarriages in the past, leading to uterine pathologies. Neither Naujin nor Fatu could naturally carry a calf to term. The final biological blow came shortly after. Suni died of natural causes, and by 2018, Sudan's health had deteriorated so severely from an infection that he had to be euthanized. With the last two males gone and both females confirmed infertile, the natural lineage ended. The survival of the northern white rhino now relies entirely on human engineering. Facing the failure of natural reproduction, an international team of scientists launched the BioRescue project. Their first step was genetic extraction. Using highly specialized procedures, researchers successfully harvested viable egg cells directly from Naujin and Fatu. In the next phase, in vitro fertilization, scientists fused those freshly harvested eggs with frozen sperm collected years ago from deceased male rhinos. The procedure worked. The fertilized cells rapidly divided, creating 38 viable, pure northern white rhino embryos, mostly from Fatu's eggs. But an embryo still needs a uterus to develop into a calf. Since Naujin and Fatu can't carry a pregnancy, scientists plan to thaw these embryos and implant them into surrogate mothers. Because there are no viable northern white females left, they have to cross species boundaries. They will use the closely related southern white rhino to gestate and birth the calves. Developing a surrogacy program for a 2-ton animal is difficult. In 2023, the team successfully implanted an embryo into a surrogate named Kura, proving the procedure works, but Kura tragically died from a rare bacterial infection shortly after. While the IVF program recovers, scientists are mapping an alternative route using induced pluripotent stem cells. Researchers take preserved skin cells from deceased rhinos, reverse engineer them into base stem cells, and program them to grow into brand new, functional sperm and egg cells. This complex lab engineering stands in stark contrast to reality in Kenya. where Najing and Fatu quietly graze under the watchful eyes of guards. These two females are the living consequence of human greed and poaching, but through the cells they've provided to science, they are also the pioneers mapping a completely new method of genetic conservation.